Hey guys, theryanplummer here, and I'm bringing you my team builder for week 8 of the Orange League. We'll be facing off against the Bhutan Beheeyems this week, and it should be a good battle. Last time they were able to 5-0 us, I think, but it was a lot closer than that. Had he not had Scarf Tyrantrum, we would have won. So we would have actually won like 6-0 if he hadn't had Scarf Tyrantrum. So it was a lot closer than it looked. His team, as a refresher, is Megalopunny, Rodhamwash, Tornadus, Therian, Victini, Zoroark, Donphan, Tyrantrum, Vileplume, Mew, and Miltank. So if we look at his team, you can see he has a very powerful Volturn core in Rodhamwash and Tornadus Therian, and he's got U-turn and like Mew, Victini, Zoroark as well to kind of play around that. Megalopunny, he usually brings it to every match, although I don't think it matches up as well against my team. But last time he brought it, and it did work pretty well. It was almost a liability though. Had he not had Choice Scarf Tyrantrum and hit me with a fake out, Lucario would have been able to sleep even better last time. But regardless, I think we might see Megalopunny, and he's got a lot of like threatening defensive threats to Donphan, which can take a hit and dish back. He can use Tornadus Therian in a defensive way if he needs it. He brings defensive Mew a lot, even though, I mean, defense Mew I didn't think was going to do well, but it ended up doing pretty well against me last time, so I have things for that. And offensive Mew, Crocodile, as you can see, who I'm bringing, deals pretty well with offensive Mew. And Miltank can be a threat too. He can use that to kind of be his healer. Heal Ball Sass away if he needs it. Usually he uses Mew in that role, but if he decides to bring offensive Mew, expect the Miltank to possibly make an appearance. So to prepare for his team, I brought a different team. I had to bring an unorthodox team because while his team is pretty threatening, not the most threatening in the team in the league in my opinion, it matches up really well against my team because Rodhamwash, Tornadus Therian, and his Volturn core just totally crush my defensive core of Mega Venusaur and Melodic. So, spoiler alert, I'm not bringing either of them again against these guys, this guy, just because of that matchup difference there. However, I am going to bring Crocodile again, so as you can see, first one I'm bringing is Crocodile. Standard Crocodile, I think I kind of got away from bringing a standard Crocodile in a couple of my previous matches, and it really hurt me. Like, the more I use, like, Crocodile in a standard role, like, the more kills it gets, the bigger role it has in the battle. So look for Crocodile to put in a lot of work this week. I'm bringing Choice Scarf Moxie, my favorite variant of Crocodile, this week, to try and get back into that with Earthquake, Knockoff, Stone Edge, and Crunch. Thing hits really hard. The speed EVs are to outspeed, max speed Adamant, Scarf Victini. If he brings a Jolly, I can't outspeed it anyway, so I didn't feel like putting like extra speed IVs into it was necessary. But if he brings the Adamant, even if it's Choice Scarfed, I'll outspeed it, and I'll always outspeed it if it's not Choice Scarfed. It also helps me to deal with some of his other possible Choice Scarfers, such as if you want to put a Choice Scarf on Rodhamwash, I can outspeed that, or if you want to put a Choice Scarf on, I believe, on Tyrantrum as well, I would outspeed that. Crocodile is going to be good this week. He's going to combo really well with the next one that I'm going to show off soon. And I think this set will put in a lot of work, even though he does have a lot of levitators. And last time we brought Colbur Berry Mew, which I was expecting, and I expect to bring him to bring that this week if he is in fact going to bring defensive Mew. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a Colbur Berry on that as well. Or on the Victini as well. He could bring it on Victini because Victini hits hard enough without a band and is fast enough without a Scarf to do well. So the next Pokemon I'm bringing is none other than Buckeye the Fortress, because Stealth Rocks are very important to me in this match. Not the most important. I probably, again, won't lead with Fortress just because everyone expects me to lead with Fortress, which gives me an automatic advantage over that. And besides, I think he'll probably go in with either Rodham or Tornadus, expecting me to lead with Fortress because those things can Volt out and break my Sturdy, and then move on from there, or like turn out as well. I'm bringing Buckeye this week with Stealth Rocks, Robinson, Volt Switch, and Gravity, actually, which I just found out Fortress has and gets. which is really interesting, because I was looking for a last move on that spot. I didn't want to bring spikes just because he's got so many levitators and things that, like, that spikes wouldn't really matter for. Rocks are much more important. So I decided not to bring spikes, so I was looking for a last move to use. I didn't want to put Gyro Ball on because it doesn't really do a whole lot against his team. So I decided to go with Gravity, which is going to allow me to hit Rotom Wash, Tornadus, all these Pokemon with ground-type moves, which is awesome because Tornadus gets 2-hit KO'd by Crocodile if he's not, like, max defensive, max HP. Rotom Wash gets 2-hit KO'd. Even the defensive variant, I believe, gets 2-hit KO'd by Crocodile. And if it doesn't, it's, like, a little bit of prior damage to 2-hit KO it. Earthquake 2-hit KOs a lot of his team. So that could come in really clutch to use that and possibly get Crocodile asleep in the end. And, you know, you get 5 turns of Gravity. So, the first turn, nothing would happen because I'd be using Gravity. Second turn, I Volt out and go into, like, Crocodile, or you'll see another Pokemon later, and gain momentum, and then use Crocodile to Earthquake through his team, possibly get a couple Moxie boosts. If we get rid of the faster Pokemon, or the Pokemon that are immune to ground right off the bat, then we can definitely sweep through because of the Moxie boost, possibly get Crocodile. A late game sweep if we need it. That's another reason why I'm not bringing Fortress, or deleting the Fortress, because I want to keep the Sturdies healthy and intact in case I need Gravity, and also, like, I want to get Slithorox up later once I recognize who his Defogger or Spinner is. Next mon I'm bringing is none other than Latios. I'm bringing a defensive Latios again. Because it does, like, defensive Latios does well against his team, it allows me to stop, like, offensive threats like Mega Lopunny. It allows me to stop, like, I think it can take hits from Victini to an extent. It can take hits from, like, Donphan. It's also a Levitator that helps against Donphan. It can come in and switch in on Vileplume if he decides to bring it. And I can deal with defensive Mew. Last time, we got in this kind of, like, stall type of war because he was able to defog my screens away. So I have Heal Block this week in case he brings defensive Mew, which would allow me to sit in there and get as much damage off on the Mew as I can until he decides to switch out, because he can't really touch me. The best he can do is maybe T-Wave me. He might have Knockoff, but even then, it's not going to do enough to the point where I can't just recover the damage off, and if I Heal Block him, he can't recover. It forces him to switch out, which would allow me to drop a Draco, and a Draco, even with no special attack investment, is going to hit really hard from Latios. It's going to allow me to get damage off on a lot of his Pokemon. I look forward to Latios putting in a lot of work and being able to pivot well and stop some of his defensive threats. Next Pokemon I'm bringing is none other than Q-Tip the Whimsicott. I didn't bring this last time because he has a lot of potential to Volt Turn. And while this set doesn't look great, and I really debated about this for a while, on whether or not to bring Whimsicott, I feel like Whimsicott is the best fit for me. Like, I can't bring Melodic and Mega Venusaur. Not only is he expecting that, but they don't match up well with my opponent's team at all. So I needed another, like, defensive support pivot type of mon. And I think my Toxic Stall Whimsicott set is going to work really well. Because it will allow me to, you know, stall out certain Pokemon, depending. If he doesn't bring a Heal Beller, then Toxic's going to put in a lot of work. And Stun Spore, too, is going to allow me to paralyze things like Tornadus, Therian, and Victini. So even if they, like, are Scarfed, I can kind of eliminate that threat. Whimsicott doesn't match up great against his team, as, you know, Vileplume completely walls this Whimsicott set. So I'll be looking for that if he decides to bring Vileplume, which I didn't think Vileplume matched up very well against my team, but that's just because it doesn't match up well, like at all against my major threats, like Latios, like, can crush it, Raikou can pretty much destroy it, those type of Pokemon can really beat it, but it does beat Melodic one-on-one. It can actually match up well against Crocodile, which is something I didn't see. He tried to do that last time, though, and it still didn't work out very well for him, but I don't know if we'll bring Vileplume this time. He probably will, seeing my team, but although seeing what I brought last time, he might not expect the Melodic and Mega Venusaur again. But this Whimsicott could come in clutch. We'll see. It can stall out, say like Tornadus is the last Pokemon. If it's Tornadus versus Whimsicott, Whimsicott will win if I can get a Toxic or a Leech Seed up, because I can just keep subbing up until he misses a Hurricane or something like that, and then he can't really do anything to me. I'm really, I feel like Whimsicott will help me to just like play with the rest of his team. It's a true support role this week. And it'll stall out a little too. I probably won't stall if I don't have to, or if I think it's not going to help me. Just because, you know, no one likes playing against stall. But if it's necessary, I'm definitely stalling stuff out. No doubt in my mind. Next Pokemon we're going to bring is none other than Raikou. Raikou really helps me against his team. Manaphy didn't really do a whole lot other than the defensive role we played in last time, and even then, it wasn't great. But Raikou gives me kind of matchups that I need against his team. For instance, it hits Wash and Tornadus Tarian really hard. It can deal with Mega Lopunny, hits that really hard. If he decides to bring the Zoroark, I can hit it really hard as long as I don't, like, go for Extra Sensory or whatever and have it not be effective. But it deals with those like big three that he's brought to almost every match, Mega Lop, Rotom, and Tornadus. This week I actually decided to bring Raikou in a sweeper kind of setting. I thought about bringing Choice Scarf, but I didn't have the like hitting power to be able to get KOs that I needed anyway. Like it would have been prior damage stuff, and I would have been using him in the late game anyway, so I kind of went away from that because defensive Subcalm Mind variant actually works really well against his team. Now, I do expect him to bring Roar on something this week, because last time, setting up with a sub and whatnot really, like, almost gave me the win, and I'm sure he'll be expecting me to do something similar. So I do need to identify which Pokemon will have the Roar. I believe, if I'm right, I know Mew and Donphan get Roar. They might be the only thing. I'd have to check up on Tyrantrum and Zoroark, but I just need to locate who his Roarer is. So I might do that with Q-Tip or even with Raikou. Although I don't want to reveal the Subcalm Mind too early. If I can get this thing in, Bhutan, like when they bring defensive Mew or when they bring, you know, some of these threats like Vileplume, it leaves them open to setup. And setup can be a problem for the team. For instance, if I get a sub up, and I get 2 Calm Minds off, there's not a whole lot he can do. He can try and U-turn out with Tornadus, but I believe that I have enough defensive investment. I have to check on that to stop like a Life Orb Tornadus U-turn from breaking a sub. I know I have enough for a Lopunny Fake Out, Mega Lopunny Fake Out to not break the sub. It can be really tough for him, and then I'm hitting everything on this team really hard. If he doesn't bring the Donphan to eat up Thunderbolts, then I'm free to Thunderbolt whenever Rotom Wash or Tornadus Therian comes in. Obviously, with Calm Minds up, Rotom Wash can't do a whole lot with Volt Switch to break my sub. So I expect Raikou to put in a lot of work this game, and especially in the late game, if I can get him in and get him set up. And last but not least, making its return to the Orange League is none other than Rapidash. Looking at his team, I didn't think Rapidash would do well, but Rapidash actually does really well against his team. I actually made a list of what on his team couldn't 2-hit KO, what Rapidash couldn't 2-hit KO, and like a lot of it was situational. Like if I get locked in a Flare Blitz because I'm Choice Banded, I can't 2-hit KO Tyrantrum or Victini, but Drill Run can 2-hit KO both of those. And then if I don't have the Gravity up, then I can't 2-hit KO a defensive Rotom Wash, and I can't 2-hit KO Donphan. So I'd have to get rid of Donphan for Rapidash to be able to sweep, but Rapidash is surprisingly fast, outspeeding like everything but like Mega Lopunny, Tornadus Therian on his team, and of course any Scarfers that he has, which is Zoroark. I don't think he can outspeed, but I'm not too worried about that. If I can get Rapidash in, I can use it as a revenge killer. If I can get it in for free, even if he gets rocks up, like with the Choice banned, like rocks don't really matter too much. I mean, yeah, it doesn't allow me to switch in as much, which is why I have Rapid Spin on Buckeye to kind of deal with that. But Morning Sun, I can come in, I'll lock myself into Morning Sun, but I'll be able to heal myself up if I need to, or if I find the opportunity to. And the goal of Rapidash is to just hit really hard and wear down this team, and possibly sweep late game, depending on what I get rid of early on. Because Rapidash, like, just crushes a lot of things on his team. And also, the Flash Fire is totally helpful against anything that might have Hidden Power Fire, or any, like, flamethrowers. Victini as well, if he decides to bring it, I can eat up his V-Create, and if he's locked into it, then it's huge, because it allows me to hit something really hard with Flare Blitz. Then, with the Flash Fire, I think Flare Blitz would 2-hit KO Victini, possibly Tyrantrum as well. So this Rapidash could come in really clutch for me, and I expect it to put in some work. I told you, I only plan on bringing Rapidash to like 2 or 3 games. This is one of them, and I expect Rapidash to pick up a couple of kills every time, every game it comes into. So I drafted it because it combos really well with Buckeye, and because it's a fast, heavy-hitting, late-game sweeper and revenge killer. It's a poor man's Entei, I like to call it. And it fit really well into my end use slot because I needed something like this. So I'm really excited. I didn't really get to go over the move sets too much, but Silver is carrying Flare Blitz, Wild Charge, Drill Run, Morning Sun. Wild Charge, I think Wild Charge only really hits Tornadus Therian heavier than anything else, and probably won't get used that much. And I think it hits Rod and Wash harder too if I don't have Gravity Up. If I have Gravity Up though, Drill Run is going to work really well, because again, like, Drill Run hits Rod and Wash incredibly hard, and I think it's a 2-hit KO on non-defensive Tornadus. I'd have to look into that. But that'll put in some work, and then Morning Sun to heal back up. I think I went over Crocodile's standard set, Earthquake, Knockoff, Stone Edge, Crunch. I put Crunch in for the Colbur Berry if I get rid of the Colbur Berry some way. Then Crunch is going to do more, obviously. So, and if I have the item knocked off, Crunch will do more too, to certain Pokemon. So, I went with Crunch. Latios is Draco Meteor, Psychic, Recover, Heal Block. Psychic allows me to hit Mega Lopunny really hard, who can't really touch me. And, Draco Meteor allows me to hit everything else, basically, really hard. Vileplume too. Psychic does a bit against Vileplume. I think Vileplume can possibly win one-on-one. Although if I heal block it, I don't think it can. Raikou is Thunderbolt, Extra Sensory, Substitute Calm Mind. I went with Extra Sensory because it deals with the Vileplume and it deals with the Mega Lopunny. I could have put something else in there, like I could have gone Aura Sphere, but then I'd have to like run different, like it would be a Rash Nature, and I just don't think it would work as well, because it would have to be the event legendary. But and then everything, and Thunderbolt just hits everything except Donphan, like really, really hard, especially if I get boosts. Whimsicott with Substitute Leech Seed, Toxic Sunspore, and then Fortress I went over Stealth Rock, Volt Switch, Gravity, Rapid Spin. So I honestly probably expect the big three of Mega Lopunny, Rod and Wash, and Tornadus Therian to come, although I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see Mega Lopunny. Last time he didn't bring Victini, which I think was a mistake on his part. Even though he did win 5-0, I think Victini is a monster and hits my team, like hurts my team badly. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Victini. After that, I think he'll bring Mew, just because he can make Mew into anything he wants. And then for the last Pokemon, he could really bring anything. Like I could see, like Zoroark, Donphan, Tyrantrum, Vileplume, Miltank all coming. If he brings Miltank, I don't think he'll bring defensive Mew. Like that probably won't be his defensive core, would be my guess. He probably combo Miltank with Tornadus Therian or Rod and Wash, something like that. So if defensive Mew comes, not expecting Miltank. After that, probably I want to say Vileplume, just because Tyrantrum gets like completely walled by defensive Whimsicott. Even Fire and Ice Fang don't 2-hit KO, which would allow me to just set up on it and stop it from really doing anything. And if I bring my Cotton Guard set, which I have brought in the past, then Tyrantrum does absolutely nothing to Whimsicott. So I don't know if we'll bring Tyrantrum, but it did save him the match last time. He might bring it as a late game sweeper. Who knows? And then I could see Zoroark or Donphan coming, depending on what he wanted to do. Zoroark could use it to try and kind of mess with me, but it's pretty easy to spot a Zoroark, especially if they use one move, then you almost immediately know what the Zoroark is, and once I figure out what it's disguising as, then I'll be able to kind of plan for it the rest of the match as well. So if he brings a Zoroark, it would be to hit hard, especially. So we probably wouldn't see something like... we could probably still see Torn T, but it depends. And then he could bring Donphan to set up and get rid of rocks, but it depends. If Donphan's there, then I'm going to say Mew is not defensive. Probably, because Donphan can kind of play that Rapid Spin Stealth Rocks role, where you wouldn't really need Mew. So we'll see. I feel like this is one of the matches that I've been better prepared for than in the past. and I feel like we're going to do really well in this match. If we don't win, we're not in the playoffs, or it's not that we're not in the playoffs if we don't win, but if we do win, it's huge to put us ahead of some other teams in the playoffs. We don't control our own destiny right now, but what we would need is to beat LA and then have LA lose another game. If we can do that, then regardless of who LA, loses to, and I think we can afford to lose this match as well. I want to say if we lose this match, we have to beat LA, and then LA has to lose their last week, which is against Bhutan. So it could happen. Who knows what's going to happen, honestly. But if we get this win, it helps us a lot in making the playoffs. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.